Alright, today I want to talk about one of the most misunderstood and overlooked settings that I can't notice a performance hit with, which I'm sure there is one, but not one that's drastic. But I just want to take you on a little journey here. A lot of times these little settings, I always try to make sure if I'm doing a performance or setting that I really have something to say that is not known or said. And this is probably the most important one. I want you to look at the side of this citation 10 here. Looks fine, right? Whatever. It's pretty cool. So now I'm going to turn this setting on. And I know you've seen this setting, but I think you have a misunderstanding of what it really does. We're going to go down to ray marched reflections. I'm going to put that on ultra. I always thought this was for water reflections. For some reason I thought that was its task or whatever. So I turned it off. I didn't think much of it. I was like, I don't really fly around water that much. I'm not Island Sim Pilot. But look at the side of my MFing Citation 10 now. And I honestly, maybe a little more VRAM, but I think that could just be from me popping it out of the settings, messing with stuff. But it would make sense that it would take more VRAM. But dude, I mean, just in general, the reflections on your airplanes, and think flying GA, you're looking out your window and you're looking at your wing, all the things that are going to reflect off that. And of course, I'm trying to go not too much in the grass, but when you get up to the runway and you're taking off, hold on, my system's bugging out. There it goes. You can see the lights and the reflection. So you see those clips of X-plane, right? And I always think, man, like when they're taking off, the reflections on the runway are superb. Like the lights coming on the body of the plane looks so good. But we're gonna taxi up to a runway of some sort. We're in Colorado Springs, by the way. Very good add-on. But this setting is going to affect that. And man, for some reason, there's this setting site. I know exactly the reason, actually. There's this setting slash performance guide on one of the Microsoft Flight Sim forums that have been out since the game came out, 2024. And I'm sure it's the exact same for 2020. And I remember I made a video about it, but it has a little slider and it shows you, you know, let's say I wanted to check ray march reflections. I'd check off on the left, and on the right I put it on ultra, and then you have a little slider that lets you bounce between the two. And for ray march, they had it listed as something that would, you know, affect the reflections on water, and they had like a town behind it, you know, kind of reflecting water, and the lower you went in settings, the lower, or like the less the tower. I was like, I don't care about that. Let me save some performance. But dude, let me turn my lights off here. Just the reflection quality here. Let's see if we can get the lights to reflect. A little bit. Not so much, but I mean, one turn it. You can see them on my nose there. Maybe if we go to nighttime, it'll be more prevalent. Try to get X-plane level reflections. There we go. Let me turn my head tracking off so I'm not moving all over the place. But you can just see the runway lights, the lights on everything. All the reflections are outrageous, man. And it's such, like, if I was in a performance or a GPU limited situation, I would turn trees down to medium and lose the look at that. Lose the shadows on the trees to gain this, you know what I'm saying? Because this be like mad dope, you know what I mean? Just be like, man, this should be crazy, bro. Can you imagine if I talked like that? It'd be a bummer. My dad would hate that. But dude, look at that. Isn't that something? See, again, I think a lot of people are in that boat that they've never really thought much of ray march. I know I didn't. And so now it's nice to have, you know, to know what it really does and how important it really is. But anyway, quick video. I just wanted to talk about that, and I think it was very video worthy, because I think a lot of people don't know that. So I hate to waste people's times. I posted a video 2 days ago or 2 videos ago, I can't look at the comments for because everybody's S-wording on me, and maybe I deserve it, but I was like, the best feature of Sim Update 3. And I said the feature, but most of the other video is me just updating you on my life. I didn't think it'd get that many views. It's at like 3-something thousand views, and everybody's like, what's the feature? What's the feature? But they obviously missed it. But Sim Update 3, I'll say it again for this video. Sim Update 3 has completely eliminated, for me, the stutters on takeoff. And I've recently switched from a 4K TV to a new monitor, 1440p monitor. It's huge, 32 inches. You know, in monitor land, that's big. I was on a 55-inch, so it took some getting used to. We'll go ahead and take off. But, dude, I am now running 1440, and I owe Phoenix an apology. I owe every performance thing I had wrong was obviously all due to the TV and me wanting to run in 4K. But, to my credit, every other plane would run fine. With the Phoenix's case, you know, I could run every other plane. I would just turn all my settings so low to run 4K. And now that I'm on a 1440p monitor, I'm rocking 1440, and all these settings I can crank. And I love it, dude. I'm cranking it. I am going bananas cranking my settings. I mean, I'm cranking it probably most of the night. I'm just tinkering around, you know, feeling around, cranking stuff. Cranking my S-word, if you know what I mean. So, let's go ahead and take off here. It's giving me a bunch of stuff I didn't put in a flight plan in or anything. But, anyway, even before I swapped to the new monitor, got so much better performance because I'm on a smaller setting, or, you know, resolution. The Sim Update 3 drastically helped the takeoff stutters. I mean, look at me right now. I am recording in 1440. I am in a, you know, a heavy VRAM aircraft. The not heavy, but a heavier. You know, the 10 is definitely a little taxing with the textures because they're so detailed. And I'm 60 FPS the entire takeoff. I dipped there for a second because dynamic LOD is loading in new stuff, and I'm right back to 60. So that was not in the beta at all. I don't think I had any flaps in that takeoff, did I? Did not. That was not in the beta. I remember always having that issue with, you know, my frames would plummet on takeoff. And it was just something I became used to. I just accepted it. I thought that's, you know, the way it is. Let's hit a turn here and see if we can get any crazy reflections on the wing there. I am using DLSS on quality. When I'm not recording, I can do DLAA, depending on the plane. The Phoenix I can, but you can't really see the street lights, but I don't think you would in real life either. It seems like we're descending rapidly, so I should maybe hop back up. But, dude, that's... Yeah, the Sim Update 3 has helped so much with that, and that was such a big issue. I never really realized it, you know? And the issue I had where my computer was sort of maxing out when I got to cruise altitude, that's gone. And I tried that before I switched monitors too. So the Sim Update 3, you know, stable release really went bananas on fixing all this stuff. But anyway, go try that Ray March Reflections. Thank me later. If you don't already have it on Ultra, have it on Ultra. And if for some reason, you know, oh, I have this little view set up here. Let me drop the view. Isn't that a cool camera angle? We can go gear up because we probably have like 300 knots. 220. But yeah, dude, it's worth whatever you have to turn down to make that happen. So that's all I had to say. Thank you for watching. God bless you.